Hey guys, what is up? Fake Nuke Records here, back in with another video. I know it's been a while. We are joined by Cole Aspen Knight here.
It's
Go
me.
check out go check out his channel. Do you want to explain what your channel is and what you got?
It's kind of about comic books, video games, gooning, a little bit of politics. I did post a political video. You don't have to watch it. It wasn't really. I was talking about shit on stream. I can't stream right now because my main computer is broken. But maybe I'll stream again in the future. Who the fuck knows? Can we swear on your show? I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
all right, all right.
I think we fucking swear all the time on
Yeah, on the other show. Anyway,
I think on this one too.
so we're
I think
doing our
swearing during
top
the
10
videos.
albums of the year, right?
Yes, top 10 albums of the year.
All right.
And then we're gonna also go over a couple honorable mentions
Sure.
somewhere in there. Unless you want to talk about them now, I don't care. Do we want
Nope.
to just like?
Nope. We had this conversation in the first time we tried to record this.
No, I know. But
All
okay.
right. So you want
What's
me to
your
go
top 10?
first?
Yeah, what's your top 10?
All right.
Or
So
number 10?
I want to preface this with like a little question. Do you know those memes where it's like they take the little cat or dog and they make it look like it's singing the Chinese rap song?
Yes.
Okay. So was watching those and like really cracking up over them. So I sought out the song, and it's it's off an album called "Money Comes from All Directions" by the Chinese rapper Sky Is Your God. I did actually translate what the song was, but I didn't write it down. So, oh well. But what happened was I just started playing it at work, like in the background, like in where I work, and everybody was like kind of vibing to it actually. And then I started like playing it while I was like playing video games and stuff. Because even though I can't understand the words, it's just like it's basically just listening to like a beat and like gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
It's like easy to zone out to. And I just actually kind of fell in love with it, and I think it's actually like pretty good. But yeah, so it's kind of an abnormal pick for me. It's not something I would normally listen to, but I will say I did fall in love with it. So I wanted to give it some representation on my list, and I actually think it was better than some of the other albums. Like going back through some of my picks. So that's my number 10. Nothing super special. I do recommend you listen to it if you're interested in like beats, I guess, and like weird like foreign music.
I will say like a weird thing. I don't know if you remember my Russian phase back in the day.
Yes, yes.
So during that, like I actually used to listen to like this long ass Russian rap playlist, and there's some like actually really good rap songs on there. Like weirdly enough, that I really fucking vibe with, like beats
Huh?
and like it's weird. Like I don't know if it's like the same, but like their beats are like really weird over there. They're, like super like ominous and like depressing sounding. So I was like super
Don't
into
they
it
usually
because
do those like crazy bass, like hard bass stuff too?
yeah. I mean, it wasn't really that. It was like more like listening to like stuff like almost either like a darker, grimmer feeling than like "Dance with the Devil" by like Mortal
Okay.
Technique, which of course is
Okay.
not a dark song since Tony the Tiger sings it.
That's
Um,
true.
yeah,
Immortal Technique, our favorite. We got to do an Immortal
yeah,
Technique video.
yeah. On Mortal Technique ranking, I guess it had
The
to be
the
songs since he
history
has
of the Immortal
three
Technique
albums.
lore,
Hmm. Yeah.
the deep Immortal Technique lore. What's your number 10?
So my number 10 is "Solemn" by In Vain.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean this band always is kind of like takes forever to release albums. So this is the first one, and I believe about like I want to say the last one was 2018, so 6 years. So it's been a fucking while. Like a lot of these bands, and it's kind of like a genre that's my I don't know, kind of like my guilty pleasure, which is like these doomier, like soft and harsh vocal bands where they go from really melodic, um, just really melodic sections to usually harsh, death metal-y kind of choruses, or kind of vice versa. They could have melodic choruses, however, but they really like switch between that a lot, and it's usually depressing. Is usually what
Yep.
I like. So like a lot of bands like Swallow the Sun in Mourning, November's
Swallow the
Doom.
Sun rocks. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's like kind of produced some of my favorite albums of the past few years. Like Swallow the Sun's was it Moonflowers? I believe is the album title from 2021.
I don't remember, but I believe you.
Yeah, which was my number two album for 2021 on my top 25 list, which was
Sure.
insane that I did 25 albums that year.
Yeah, that
It
is a
was a really
lot.
fucking good year, honestly. Like when I look back,
2021. I was actually looking through like the albums I have saved, and I have a lot from 2021.
yeah, I think In the Court of the Dragon year came out in 2021.
I think so. Yeah.
Like 2021 was a fucking great year. I was like
Yeah.
skimming through that video, just like seeing what the albums were, and I didn't remember one was number one or number two, and it was just like Soul Sun got beat out just slightly. So, but yeah, they're a great band, but uh, I hate to say it, their new album that came out this year super disappointing to me.
Oh,
It was
I
super
didn't even
soft.
know. I didn't even know they put an album out.
Yeah, it was super soft compared to the last albums. I feel like so. I feel like this is a perfect album for this year to come out because I was kind of like craving that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's ever as good as Enigma, which is like kind of their top album for me. Uh, but yeah, it just kind of did a good job of filling hole that other bands left. So it's my number 10 for that reason. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is going to be Spleen and Goad by Iron Monkey. And so this is just kind of kicking off the mostly metal of this list. I feel like all the albums that came out this year that I really enjoyed were like all like really like disgusting like super heavy metal stuff. In different like subgenres obviously. This one I don't even know exactly how to describe it. It's definitely like at least to me like very death metal-y. I guess maybe it's a little bit I don't even know the describing words because I'm gonna say something wrong and somebody's gonna tell me I'm in the wrong subgenre. But it's just like really heavy and like it's super hard and like grindy. I've only listened to the album once all the way through, I will say, but I super enjoyed it. I discovered Misanthropizer, which is the first track on the album, because it has a YouTube like music video, and I was just like searching music videos with my buddy, and I was already like, this is fucking sick. But I didn't know the album came out this year uh, until recently, and I was like, oh yeah, I actually really like that. I thought I'd throw it on there. I think it's really good. If you love like really heavy, disgusting metal, I think you're gonna enjoy it. There's even some like weird, just like super chaotic, like noisy parts. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know if you
definitely.
listened to it or not.
I've not. No, I don't. I don't know the band. I don't. I mean, I saw. I think I saw the band in a list of like metal albums that came out this year.
Yeah,
Just because I was also doing research.
I
Like
think
I was
you
like,
would enjoy it, so I would definitely check it out.
yeah, I'll have to check it out after this video. And getting my number 9. My number 9 is "Luck and Strange" by David Gilmour.
In the light before the dawn.
Okay, oh, I didn't listen to
So,
that.
so it's one of the few non-metal albums of the year on my list. Honestly, like I remember driving home, or it was like driving super late at night. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was driving, and I just turned on the album. And I was like, holy shit! Like this is like better than like almost better than Division Bell. That
Yeah,
album, I was like, damn, this is almost like better than that. And I think like it's probably the best front to back David Gilmour solo album since the '80s. Like I think
really.
that's pretty easy. But yeah,
I hadn't heard anything about it. I knew. I now that you say it, like I remember that it was coming out, but I didn't hear anything about it. So I'll have to listen.
yeah, I think like the tracks like are super expressive in the instrumentation, which I like. You know, of course you get that with David Gilmour, no matter what.
Right.
Like he puts like so much soul into his, you know, everything he does, and I really think the apparently there's a barn jam version of the title track "Luck and Strange," which was recorded before Richard Wright passed, so he was on that jam.
Oh, that's
As
sick.
long as like the basis, one of like the late bassists of Pinkfloyd, not he's not dead, I don't think, but he was on that. So, but they were like doing a dogs, almost like it's literally like the one part of dogs where it's like the like organ,
Okay,
and it's super fucking awesome. And
that's
it's like
super
that,
cool
and they're
though that
getting
it has Richard Wright on it.
yeah, it's super soul and it's called like the barn jam version because there's like the normal version where he sings on it, and that version's also super good. But I almost feel like I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, this like sucks that there's like this version of him without Richard Wright on it." Or I think it still might have Richard Wright on it. It's just cleaned up,
Yeah.
and like people won't want that. But like if you just separate them, it's actually like I still love that song. I think that's really good and super like that
Yeah, I
era.
mean,
Like
people are always gonna complain about stupid shit like that, but like, I'm sure
yeah,
it's still good, no matter what.
yeah, and I think that's a pretty standout song. Like a lot of songs feel old school, like almost Pink Floydy in a sense.
Is
Not
a lot
quite,
of
you
it
know.
like based off back catalog, like stuff that was never released, or is it like really like new stuff?
I think a decent amount of it's new stuff. There's
I
some.
saw something. I think the reason I saw it was that he was doing with a producer who wasn't like normally producing that kind of music or something. That was, I think, why I had read about it.
Mm,
So,
yeah, and I actually Excuse me.
Nice.
Yeah, fat burp for the audience. You're welcome, guys. No farts in this one though. That's only on Boss Nasty. Uh,
Despacito.
but yes. What was I got completely sidetracked now. But yeah, no, it's great album. But the real highlight, honestly, that I was not expecting is the tracks his daughter is on. Like, she's a really good singer, and hearing her like over the Gilmore music is really fucking awesome. I know one of the songs was released like a couple years ago. Like, I know that one was released earlier when you were asking about the
Yeah.
distance, but I think the other song is like a new song, and his daughter is like really really good. So that's
cool.
kind of why that's at my number 9. It has some songs that I'm like less enthusiastic about, but still I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that's super
But
cool.
yeah, what's your number 8?
So my number 8 also comes with like a little bit of a story, I guess. So there's this guy on YouTube, Dave Simpson. He just makes like guitar videos that I've been watching on and off for like many years. And his band released their first like full album this year. It's Red Giant, and it's just self-titled Red Giant. And yeah, I've just been a fan of his videos for a really long time. He's a great player, very like emotion filled, soulful player, and he puts like jams in like all of his videos. I just really dig that stuff, and I didn't get to listen to the album until like super recently, like all the way through. I'd heard like the single that they put out, which I do think the single Monsters is like probably the best song for sure. And the production is like the reason it's so low on the list, because I think if the production was maybe a little bit to my stand, not saying it's bad by any means, but at least a little bit more to my standards, I would have put it higher. But I think just like as like a fan for so long, seeing this come to fruition now with like a full album that's like really top notch in my opinion, and it's also like the only like one of the only rock albums on my list this year. I definitely think it's worth a listen. I think it's really cool, and I also always want to support like artists, like smaller artists who I give a shit about. So yeah, Red Giant, self-titled, definitely check that out if you're into like rock jammies.
Yeah, that's do you say do you know like you just know him from YouTube?
I just watch him on YouTube. He's like a
Okay.
English guy, but I've just watched his videos for a long time.
Okay. I didn't know if does he do like what does he do on YouTube? Is it just like
He
guitar
just
stuff?
does like it's basically like he'll do like guitar reviews, pedal reviews. He does like the one series I really like is he like tries to get the tone of like certain people. He's a huge like John Frusciante fan, so that's kind of how I found him. Like
Okay.
trying to get like Frusciante's like tones and stuff.
Is the album kind of like a Frusciante like style?
No,
Like, is it?
I would say the album is more like it's more kind of like bluesy rock slash meets like 90s grungy kind of stuff almost.
I think that's kind of what his Frusciante solo stuff is like, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely like inspired by that because he
Mm.
plays a lot of stuff like that. But I think it's got like more of a unique character. It's like weirdly, because I notice in a lot of his Dave's stuff, like he puts a lot of emotion into stuff. It is like a weirdly also like mellow and emotional like album in like a good way. It's not like a bad thing. It's like a cool touch to it that I think is different than a lot of other like rock stuff that I've listened to.
Awesome.
Bazinga.
Hell yeah.
Just kidding. I fucking hate no. I mean, no, dude, Sheldon is awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sheldon.
Young Sheldon, dude, what's your number 8?
So my number 8 is "Don't Go to War with the Demons of Mazandaran." I think is how you say it, or Mazandaran. I don't know how you say it.
Okay.
By Lowen.
Yeah, I have no idea about this one. You're gonna have to tell me all
Yeah.
about it.
So this album shocked me with how good it was. Honestly, like I was just kind of going through like looking at doom metal albums, and I was super intrigued by the art. Like this is one that I think is probably one of the coolest album arts of the year. It really reminds me of the one Deep Purple album. I forget what the actual art is called. It's like I think the it's like the Garden of Earthly Desires or something like that. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I think that is what it's called.
But yeah, it's a super awesome piece of art, and it's like really gives me that vibe, and I just love the fucking album art.
Album art definitely pulls me in a lot as well. Doesn't always end up being good, but
yeah, no, I was like, like, is this actually gonna be good?
I
I
feel like
saw him,
every time I click on like really cool album art these days, and not to like shit on anybody, I'm not gonna come at anybody, but sometimes when I click on like the coolest album art ever, it's like just the worst, most terrible. Man.
you know what's a big thing too now is like metalcore bands using like awesome art,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you're like, oh fuck, like this is like really, and not like there's
There's some metalcore that's okay.
yeah, yeah, like there's some of that stuff that's okay, but 9% of it's like, ugh, like I don't need to hear how many times you can fucking do a breakdown in your song.
Yeah.
In one song, like have a like
Wait.
it's also
Okay,
like
we're
they're
gonna do
trying
the
to be
breakdown.
proggy.
We're gonna do the breakdown, and then after the next chorus, we're gonna do the breakdown again, but slower.
Yeah, but this time we're gonna do a pig squeal after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, sorry, I fucking flustered myself. But yeah, no, the vocalist, her name's Nina something. I don't think I could say her last name. But I know she's Iraqi.
Okay.
But there's like a big thing where like she's like I can't like I literally would not be able to do metal in my own country, so like that's why I'm in, like the UK. So it's actually pretty cool. But like the complexity of the material that they're releasing is crazy because it's just a 3-piece band. Like the drummer's really good, the guitarist is really good, and she does like a lot of I guess side instruments like traditional.
She plays
like,
bass. I'm assuming then.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't think there's a bassist in the group.
Oh well, I mean that can work sometimes.
Yeah, but they're like super unique. They'll go from like super like more doomy style stuff. You want to say like the atmosphere kind of doomy stuff to like some crazy like death metal to like it's just like all over the place and it's like really really good and I don't think it ever like breaks my immersion.
Yeah.
My only concern with this album, the only reason it's 8, it's because it's only 35 minutes long, which is really short for like a doom album, like a doomy kind of progressive, but it's still good. And I also honestly, it doesn't have to be a thing. I just that kind of album because it goes into like death metal-y instrumentals. I would love to fucking hear some like harsh vocals on it.
Yeah,
but that's not something I need. Like it's fucking.
If you listen to a lot of harsh vocals, there's definitely going to be times I feel the same way where I'm like listening to something and I'm like, that could be harsh vocal.
Yeah, but it's like not necessary because like the vocalist is so unique.
Yeah,
and like I feel like she has almost no one like her. It's almost in that style of like how Middle Eastern like that Middle Eastern female singing style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
like
kind of
that Oriental style.
Something you might hear in Morath, perhaps.
Yeah, or Orphan Land.
Well, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Karma by Morath. So
okay,
you know about me, but there's this band. They're from Tunisia, I believe, called Morath, and they're basically like Dream Theater, but if they were from the Middle East. And I have always been a huge Dream Theater fan. Not so much these days, gonna be honest. But Morath actually fills that hole in my heart, truly, because they take like a lot of that Dream Theater Symphony X style of like prog metal, and they just do something like a little tiny bit different with it. I will say like a lot of their stuff sounds very samey, but so does Dream Theater if you listen to a lot of it, and so do a lot of these like really shreddy technical prog metal bands. I feel like a band usually has like a collective sound to me in like those genres. And so like it doesn't bother me. This album is not as good as like Beyond the Stars, which is my favorite album by them, but I do think it's probably my second favorite. It's much better than the last Morath album. And I put it this high as well because, like I said, I was kind of like listening to it at a point where I was kind of craving that Dream Theater thing, but they have kind of not been meeting that standard for me. With Labrie singing really kind of ruins. I'll be honest, like Labrie is kind of what's ruining it for me. I wish they would just do Liquid Tension because I just don't care.
Yeah. And then the Sons of Apollo kind of got.
And Sons of Apollo too. I don't think we're ever gonna get
done.
another Sons of Apollo album.
After Mike's back with Dream Theater,
which sucks because they were so good. Not just because we saw them live, but also that was awesome.
Yeah, but, it really hurts. But yeah, I was, I think I don't remember if I actually saw Morath. I know you were talking about Morath, and I was like, I don't know if I should listen to this or not. Like, I was just like, I have so much shit to listen to make sure. I was like, I know Cole's gonna probably get that, and if it's good, I'll hear about it and know to listen to it. Or if it's
I think it's fairly good.
No, not to listen to it. So
it's worth a listen if you're looking for that kind of like proggy metal.
Yeah. which is also a thing that's been lacking. Not even like it sucks because there's really like almost nothing that's coming out kind of in that style that's
I
actually
feel
like
like
good.
I feel like it got burned out because so many bands were doing it, and it was kind of like a thing in that, like, and it was like a community of like bands and groups that were like in that style for a while. Even Opeth kind of like fell into that a little bit.
Yeah, I know Neil Morris released an album this year, and I was gonna like listen to it, and I saw it was back end by like 25 to 30 minute like front end, back end were 30-minute prog songs. I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, I want to listen to it, but I just like for me to put down a time to listen to like an hour and 45-minute album and like listen through like if I don't like the track, it's gonna be pain, dude. And then if I listen through the whole album and I don't like the end track, then it's almost a waste because it's like I can't talk about the full album if a whole 30 minutes of the album sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
That would not go on my list if half the album was Garbo.
yeah, and it's like one song has to be bad for it to be.
Because I
half
do
the
think
album
when
being
I'm
bad.
ranking album, at least when I'm ranking albums, I'm definitely thinking like also how much enjoyment did I get out of it. Like some of
Yeah.
these albums might not be on some other levels better than other stuff that I listen to, but like how much enjoyment did I get out of it? Like one of my honorable mentions, I will say, probably is better than a few of the albums. Both of my honorable mentions, I think, are probably a little bit better in some respects than some of these albums, but I didn't listen to them as much. I liked them, but I don't feel like I can put something on my list if I didn't get a lot of like actual listening time out of it. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. So under my number 7.
oh, it's yeah. I thought you were just gonna start. Yeah.
No, you're good. I was like, all right. I don't know if you were waiting for me to say something about Morath or
No, what's your number
yeah.
7, man?
So my number 7 is Catastrophic Reconfiguration by Molder. Yeah, so this actually comes as my number 7.
Molder
more
is
of
in
a,
like Fox Mulder or like.
yeah, like Fox Mulder, I guess. Yeah,
Is that actually how it's spelled?
no, it's Molder. I
Yeah.
think he
Okay.
has a U in it, right?
Yeah. Well, his is just with a U. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I assumed it was.
Yeah. Like it in sound only, I guess. But yeah, it was a late addition to my album because I was watching like all these groups fight about the best death metal album of the year, and of course, there's a big one that we might be talking about later.
Yeah.
But like,
I think it's like almost undeniably the best, but okay. Yeah.
I saw a lot of people mention this album, and I was like, let me check it out, and I can definitely see why like a traditional death metal fan would fucking love this album. It fucking kicks ass, and one of my favorite parts is that it has like that 80s 90s death metal shred, like almost has like that 80s shred to it, the
Yeah,
80s
that's
like
cool.
heavy metal shred, which really doesn't happen in death metal nowadays. I feel like you don't get those crazy solos anymore. Like that
I
could
feel
be
like we've even lost a lot of like just melodic playing
yeah,
in general. It's all rhythm. Everybody's just all about rhythm. I think Core has done a lot to like move everybody in that direction. So when I find a band that is like really kind of shreddy, then
Yeah.
I get super into it. Actually, I think I might have left something off my list, but I'll just mention it here real quick. That band I was telling you about before, Venom Prison, with the female singer from the UK.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they put an album out this year, but they have kind of that. That's what drew me to them. Like they do kind of more of like an old school death metal thing. Like they have really like shreddy, cool solo parts, but they also have like sick like metal breakdown type stuff too. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's get back to it, but that's
But yeah, like just based on that shreddy this though, like my favorite track is probably Corpse Copulation, I think is how you say it. So yeah, that's a really awesome one. And they also have like it might just be one song, but they also have like that death doomy riffs that like Bolt Thrower has and stuff like that in
oh
one of their
yeah.
songs. I'm like, okay, this is fucking awesome. And it like I know I complained about the last album being 35 minutes long. This one's 34 minutes long. And I think it just like it works more. Like I can do
Yeah.
with a less than a 3 minute long death
It's
metal
just more
song.
cohesive.
No, I just think it's like I can like when it's always like crazy tense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like intense the whole time. Like 30 minutes, I can do a good 30-minute death metal album because it's like so much feels like it's happening. Where like a lot feels like it's happening in the Lowen album, but it's just like I don't know how to explain it. It's like you get the slower, dronier sections and everything like that, and then like it's supposed to be more epic. So I feel like You One More Time, and I think it's only like 5 songs, that whole album. So compared to like 10 songs on the Mulder album. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I really love that album for that classic uh style, which is
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, really enjoyable. So what's your number 6?
So my number 6 is going to be Colossal Oppressor by 10 Ton Slug. So this is kind of one of my two like big like I guess it might be my biggest like doom metal representation for the year. I kind of found this band randomly just like searching for stuff on Spotify, bored on random people's playlists. But they put out this album this year, and it's really, really good. I also really like the album art, which you'll be seeing in the video. I just think the name 10 Ton Slug is fun too, and like their album cover, the album cover for this is like a big slug. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But it's just cool, and it's just a cool doom metal band. Like they're not like breaking any molds or anything, they're not like doing anything like super crazy or unique. I just think like everything works, and it feels really cool. It gives me almost a little bit of like High on Fire vibes, but like a little bit slower, a little bit doomier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's also kind of what drew me in with that. And yeah, I don't know, it's just that real like Conan the Barbarian type shit. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like it's just really like homey for me, as someone who like doom is probably one of my like favorite metal genre, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
And I listen to a shit ton of it, so that's why it's this high.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be a lot of doom on this for my list. There's gonna be a lot of doom.
Yeah, but I don't have much more. If you want to go to your number 6.
Okay, my number 6 is Kinship by I want to say it, Eaton. Or it's IOTUNN. As the band.
Jotun?
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Something like that, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, this album was really close to me feeling like Forest Seasons by Winter Sun.
Oh.
And that was like, that's one of my favorite albums from Winter Sun. And I know it's kind of like the dark horse of their albums, because it's not as like technical. It's not as like death metal-y. It's more black metal-y.
Yeah.
And this,
if I
would
had
say
listened to it, it would be, I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is like as black metal-y. I think it has like more like death vocals in it. Like
Okay.
more, yeah, that's more death
More
vocals than black.
Yeah. I don't
More
even
like
know.
growls, I guess, than
Yeah.
shrieks. If you want to say it in that terms, maybe. I don't know. Someone's gonna say, no, that's wrong. It's
No, it's the other
this
way
stuff.
around. Because actually, the labels really help us figure it out, right?
Yeah. But yeah, this album would rank way higher to me, for me. If like this probably would be my number 1. If like 3 songs in, they didn't like abandon the heavy vocals until the last 2 songs. So it's like 3
that's
songs,
weird.
3 songs with harsh and non-harsh vocals. 3 songs are just like clean vocals, and then the last 2 are harsh and clean.
I feel like you got to spread it out more than that. If I listen
Yeah.
to like half of an album, there's like no harsh vocals. Maybe I'm like driving or something, and then all of a sudden just like right in.
Yeah, it's like, and it's not even like, yeah, there's cleans in every song has cleans, but it's like just going from like you have these songs with like these beautiful intros, and then they go to like these tense parts. I will say though, the first song on this album, Kinship, ELEGIAC, which Elegiac, or I don't know, it's Kinship something. It's basically like the title track
Some
for the album.
fucking gibberish. Who cares?
But dude, the solo in that is probably my favorite solo of the year. I mean,
Yeah?
it's got like fucking
Oh, dude, we should
emotional,
have
like,
done solo of the year. Oh, damn, I wish.
it was like emotional segments, dude, with like intertwined shredding that like didn't break the immersion of the solo either.
Yeah.
Like usually you kind of have to choose, or I feel like most artists choose like, I'm gonna do like a more like David Gilmour, like super emotional fucking like BB King-ish, I guess, style fucking solo, or fucking, oh, let me do something like Steve Vai. Now this is fucking awesome. And they also have another great one where it's like super tremolo based for the picking, so it's like fucking awesome. So I don't know, this album's really cool for the beginning and the end. But just kind of has that middle part that kind of brings it down a little bit. I still don't think it's bad, but it's a little too soft where I'm like, this could be better. It would be way higher, I think, for me. But you will see, because I do love the guy who works on this, the vocalist, John Aldara. Really cool. So we'll see him later on the list, most definitely.
Okay.
For another
cool.
album release this year. So, yeah, what's your number 5?
My number 5? My number 5 is going to be Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. So, I know we talked a little bit about this album before. You know, I'm very conflicted. I only got to listen to it like one time all the way through. Because I was putting it on the back burner to listen to other stuff. And it's Opeth. It's really cool. I'm glad that the harshness and harsh vocals are back, at least in some capacity. And there is really, really, really cool moments on this album. Not just the harsh vocal stuff. There's cool stuff all around. But also, a lot of it came off as, like, either uninteresting or even, like, a little bit, like, pretentious and tacky at times. And I kind of said this to you, but, like, I don't know how else to describe it other than, like, at least vocally in the album, it feels like Michael was just trying to, like, evoke something.
Yeah.
And it just feels deflated on some level, but I still like it because it's Opeth and it does sound like them. And it is, like, all the things I like, even if it's only in, like, little bites of it.
Yeah, I think my main problem with that album, and I'll preface this, like, I'm not a huge Opeth fan. Like, for me, Opeth is really, so I'm trying to make sure I get Morning Rise is really, like, that's probably my favorite album. That's probably the most black metal album that they did. In My Arms, Your Hearse is also great. I do like that as well.
What about Blackwater Park?
Blackwater Park, it's okay, yeah, decent.
Oh, it's just okay.
Yeah, I just prefer those two more than Blackwater Park.
No, I understand.
Like Blackwater Park is like a good, like, all the way through listen. Like, I think it's probably their most coherent album, if you want to say that. Like,
it's just like Blackwater Park is like top 10 metal albums of all time to me.
Yeah,
I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased with Opeth.
But then I like some of the stuff. Like, yeah, I'll listen to some stuff from like but like Damnation is like I think it's closer to Damnation than like something like what I'd want to listen to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
but it's
I agree.
It's not
I'm
even
saying...
like I wouldn't even say it's like Damnation almost, because Damnation is like depressing. It's almost more Steve Wilson-y, where this is like
that's where I think the
depressing,
pretentiosity comes in now. Like it just feels to me like they're not like evoking a lot of emotion. They're just kind of like going off.
Yeah, like they're jerking their own cocks on the fucking.
Yeah, it's just it feels like I don't know.
Yeah,
there's something about it, but it's still Opeth, and also like I said, I didn't get to listen to it like a lot, so it's totally could grow on me. There's been a lot of other Opeth stuff that grew on me a lot, so we'll see. The last album did not grow on me though, and this album is definitely a lot better in my opinion. Not that the last album was even bad, it wasn't really my thing. But we'll see. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But you can go to your number 5.
So my number 5 is actually gonna be some prog rock.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a while for this band, but yeah, it's Songs for the Beating Hearts by Beardfish.
I'm on the river again.
Oh yeah, you told me about this band.
Yeah, and so they've been broken up the whole time I've been a fan of them. They have not been together. They reformed and made a new album.
Nice.
So yeah, some of my favorite like prog post 2000s came out from this band, and I know we had like an actual listen party to Sleeping in Traffic, which it's probably one of it's fucking awesome songs.
Didn't I fall asleep while we were listening to that?
Yeah, it was like fucking probably like 2 a.m. we were listening to that. But yeah, this album is kind of just like brings it back where they left off. It's not as like maybe perfect as before, not, I wouldn't say perfect. Nothing.
Well, it's always going to be different with that much time in between.
Yeah, but like they really came back, and it's like it's not a perfect representation, but it's fucking damn close. And like the epic on this album, Out in the Open, takes me really back to that Sleeping in Traffic song. Fucking awesome. Like shifts.
I'll have to check it out.
Has like a Gates of Delirium type intro to the fucking album. Like really reminds me of that.
Okay.
And then it just gets like, or not album, I guess, to the epic. There's like one song before the epic starts, and then it's like a 5-part epic. and it gets like weird and funky afterwards. It's just like all over the place. I love it. There's synthy stuff in there. There's so much fucking Hammond organ, which I fucking love. It's like the best instrument ever for prog. I think it's like bigger. And it also, this album has like patched a little fucking hole in me that I needed because one band I kind of like was listening to new music from because these guys weren't releasing music was Arabs and Aspic, and they haven't released an album in 4 almost 5 years now. So,
Damn.
Yeah.
I think you also showed me them, but I don't think I've listened to them. Why does my list? I'm sorry, my list keeps turning off.
All right. What's your number 5?
No, this is my number 4.
Or no, yeah, number 4. Sorry, yeah. I forgot.
My number 4 is "The Will of Hate" by Teeth. I was kind of talking about this a little bit to you last night, but so this album was actually recommended to me by a guy that I work with. He also is like really into music, musician, all that stuff, and every once in a while he'll just like throw me a band and be like, "You should listen to them." This band, Teeth, this is the album they released this year. Their one album cover is actually what I like decided to actually listen to them because of their, even though I think this album is better. But the cover of their other album, it's called like Entropy. Something is sick. This album has a cool cover too. Not as cool, but this album on the other hand is awesome all the way through. It is just like a brutal heavy metal album, little doomy in some parts too, but as most of my list, it's just like disgusting grinding metal. And this one, like I have listened to all the way through like 7 times now. It's just awesome. It's good background. It's good foreground if you're like straight up trying to listen to music. It just kind of hits all the boxes for me. Again, one of those things where I don't think it's like doing anything like super out of the box or unique. It's just like comfort food kind of music, kind of metal when you need like that, just like super heavy kind of stuff. So I definitely highly recommend it as a listen for sure. Again, I don't have a lot to say. These albums are just good.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
It's just good metal. Like a lot of my albums are just good like metal.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy this year, but
yeah, I mean sometimes you don't need more than that.
Right. What's your number 4?
So my number 4, I'm gonna play it on fucking Google Translate and try and fucking read it back to you.
Okay.
So Men Gus Hond Sterk. By. Sorry, this is like hard. By Hamfer. So this
German?
is this is Icelandic. These guys are from the Faroe Islands.
Faroe Islands. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So probably not a lot of artists from there. But as I talked about, John Aldara, this is his other album. A little less English than Kinship was. As in there's no English in this at all. But yeah, this is the first album I heard by them. This is the first John Aldara album that I heard, and then I went and I listened to the other album that I said I really liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was super happy to find this, and kind of takes me back to like the basics, like doomier versions of like The Weight of Oceans, which is an album by In Mourning.
Yeah.
It's like death doom interlaced kind of with, more melodic clean sections that convey a lot of emotion. And it's honestly like a cool album idea. It's kind of almost like an Ahab album as well. Is that, or Ahab? How do you say it?
Ahab.
Yeah. Kind of like their stuff almost, but it's about a like whale that like killed 14 people in the Faroe Islands. Like the whole album's about. But yeah, it's like got some sludgy parts, and like the one song sounds like Early Sleep or even some kind of like Matt Pike vocally High on Fire-ish. So it's like super cool.
Cool.
And the song that's like it's Havolja. Don't know how to say it. It's
something.
It's HV with the O with the slash and then LJA. So fucking if y'all can figure that out.
Every time I listen to something in a different language that I really like, I'm always like, fuck, I should learn this language so I can understand this.
Yeah, I also like, honestly, like a big thing for this album is I fucking love the mixing. Like, I don't think this album is built as much for me as his other album, but the way this album is executed is like fucking awesome. The mixing is like awesome. You honestly, like, one of the few albums I feel like I feel every instrument. Like, nothing was undermixed, overmixed, and everything like weaved its way like through each other. And it's still like, it's weird to have drums feel bone crushing and guitars feel bone crushing at like the same time, and just like everything like felt like it was like crushing you. So it was
Yeah.
really fucking awesome. Like, when you had those sections, I should say, because there's still soft sections in there, and it's just fucking an awesome album. Highly recommend if y'all love doom metal to check it out. All right. So number
Yeah.
3.
My number 3 is going to be Coagulated Bliss by Full of Hell. So this is another one of those just crazy metal bands that I put on here this year. This one, I will say how I've kind of described it or categorized it in my head is it's almost like a polished Cannibal Corpse. If that makes sense. Like, it's not as like grimy and gross feeling, but it is super just like technical and also disgusting and like crazy death metal. And I just really liked it. I actually didn't think I was gonna like it. This is another recommendation from a friend of mine, and I really didn't think I was gonna like it because he and I don't always meet musically. He's like more of like a noise. He's into like noise and like industrial and like a lot of other stuff. And this album has some like noisy, weird industrial moments as well. But it really is like on the whole like a straight up just like technical slammy death metal outing. And also, as you were talking about production, I think the production on this is great, and that's why I call it like a polished like Cannibal Corpsey type thing, because it's like a 90s like grindy death metal band, but it's like also super polished.
Is it closer to like Cannibal Corpse or like Obituary?
I would say it's probably closer to Cannibal.
Okay, interesting. And sorry, I don't mean to fucking. Did you say?
I've never really listened to Obituary. I think I've maybe heard a few songs though, so I couldn't say.
Who did you say? Sorry.
They're called Full of Hell. No.
Who recommended it? Sorry.
Oh, just a friend of mine from work.
Okay, cool.
Another one.
It like cut out, so I was like,
"Oh, is my mic still doing that?"
Yeah, just cut out a little bit, but you're good. You guys will hear it. I just did not hear like the one thing he said. That's like the only time I have not heard something.
We're on the backup computer, okay? I can't promise it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, what's your number 3?
My number 3, another one I have to Google Translate. So it is 12. God, dude, this looks like it's going to be terrible to say. Ooh. Can I do this slow, maybe? So a Yonyar Almoriasun Yonek. It's 12. It's 12 by
what language would this be?
Hungarian.
Okay.
So yes, it's 12 by Thy Catafalque.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I played you.
Yeah,
some of their music. And apparently the actual translation is "The Sweet Dreams Come After That."
Okay. Nice.
Which is, an interesting.
Sounds so beautiful in their language.
Another avant-garde masterpiece to me from Thy Catafalque, who last time I did 2021, I was saying Thy Catafalque because I was like, oh, it's European, so they got to change it. No, it's Thy Catafalque, which is English for like, it's a thing that holds up a fucking a coffin apparently.
Okay.
So very weird. But yeah, Thy Catafalque is like, since 2021 minus 2022 has like dropped an album that's been in my top 10. Of course, last time they beat Out Swallow Sun, who's not on this list. I already talked about it. Kind of disappointing. But yeah, this album is great. I don't love it as much as the one that came out last year, which was really cool and more like black metal-y death metal focused. And I found this album to be a little more like synth heavy and melodic, which isn't bad. Like they're all over the place always. Like it reminds me a lot of Vadak, or however you say that.
Yeah.
Probably not saying it's right. It's probably like Vadak or something like that. You know what I mean? Something I don't know how to say. But yeah, I think it definitely shares the most similarities to that. Still super unique album. Like just awesome. There's great death metal sections in there still. There's still like like I said, super unique synthy, almost like 80s, like kind of like the Depeche Mode stuff in there too. Like not singing wise,
That's cool.
but like it's instrumentation, if you
That
want to
does
call it
seem
that.
all over the place though.
Yeah, it's like their last album was like a lot more, I would say a lot more concise. But like this album, I still like everything they've put out so far. I've like loved it. It's super unique. Um, and they're probably one of my favorite bands that have been releasing music for a while. So
That's
it's
cool. I
really
might have
cool.
to check more of that out.
So what's your number two?
So my number 2 is an album I think you also listen to. It's gonna be "Cometh the Storm" by High on Fire. I was really
Yeah.
thinking about it when I was making the list and constructing the list, and I listened to this album probably like 10 times all the way, like since it's come out.
Mm-hmm.
I just really vibed with it. I'm not even like, I probably wouldn't even say it's my favorite High on Fire album, and I'm not even like as big of a fan of High on Fire as you are, I don't think. And I like them a lot. I just don't listen to them very often. But like this album really hit for me this year, and I think I picked it up. I don't think I listened to it right when it came out, but I picked it up. Maybe I did. I think I was listening to it probably like the week or two after it came out.
Yeah, I think we
Um,
listened like the day it came out. We like both were on Discord and we like both listened to it at the
yeah,
same time.
but it just hit really hard this year, and I was tempted to put it as my number one just because of how much I listened to it and how like good I think it is. I think it just really captures like the whole like vibe of High on Fire. It's very epic in scope and in scale, even though every song also is like very like stands alone very well as well. It's not like that's technically a concept album by any means or anything, but all the songs like stand alone and are really good, but also as one cohesive whole. It just like I can listen to it straight through. It's super like chill, even though it's like super epic, like fantasy, death doom, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I also think Matt Pike sounds great on this album. Like his vocals are really good. Maybe it's just like the mixing, but I don't know. You disagree?
That was like my whole thing. That's so I'm just gonna say now it's not my top 10.
No, I noticed.
Um, so my whole main thing was the vocals. I was not as big a fan. I was gonna throw it in my thing. I do really like some songs on there. Let me double check. I had like some written down, and then because I was actually like thinking about putting in my top 10, and
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't know. I
'cause
just think
I like it.
the good moments of it really beat out anything that was like kind of weak to me. And I actually think he sounds pretty good, like all things considered.
The instrumentation, like I think, is awesome. It's probably it's probably the heaviest album they've released
Yeah.
since like Devolution. Um, I would say maybe I'm wrong in that, but it's like really fucking heavy compared to like some of their past few
No,
albums.
I think it is really heavy, and that's another reason I think I really dig it.
But yeah, I do really like some songs like Hunting Shadows.
I think it's just also really cohesive. Like I just think listening to it as a whole thing, like it works super well. I don't know.
Yeah, I do really like Hunting Shadows and
Was it
like
Tempest? I think is the other song that I really really liked.
Tempest.
Uh,
No, probably not
no.
Tempest. Oh, is it Trismeg?
yes. Sorry,
Megistus?
not Tempest. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Tool, my favorite band ever. Tool.
Yeah, Seven Empest, dude.
Seven Empest. Yes. Sorry, I lost my list again. Even though I know what my number one is.
Yeah, I just I don't know, it was tough for me. Like I enjoyed it a lot. I just like honestly some of Matt's vocals on some of the songs I was not as big of a fan of as some of the older ones. And
I mean, he's aging for sure.
yeah, and my problem is I feel like they didn't have a lot of like I feel like in a lot of their albums they have like psychedelic sections within
Yeah.
the album. This was like really just all raw ripping, like High on Fire heavy, which I don't
Yeah.
mind. It's good. It's awesome.
That's why I kind of like it.
Yeah. I sometimes want that little break in there. I don't think it's bad. Like I think it's still a fucking awesome album. I think it's probably if we did top 15, it's in there. It's probably in
Yeah.
there at 11 or something like that.
No, I
But-
get that. I listened to it so much that I couldn't put it like super low. And then I will say I didn't like fully re-listen to it like right before recording or anything. But like from my last listen, I definitely, and then as I was constructing the list, I was like, I really really dug this album and it really hit for me this year. And
Yeah.
maybe it'll change in the future, but I do think we disagree on the vocal thing. I think you can tell he's aging and he sounds different.
Mm.
But I also think as a cohesive whole, like production wise, the album sounds really good. I think he sounds pretty good, all things considered. And I like that it's like ripping all the way through and it doesn't really like let you down. at any points. Which sometimes you need in an album. I just didn't think it was like super necessary.
I don't, I don't even know if it's like the like
Downtime thing.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's like that. I think also I just like, and maybe it kind of is that. I also like when they do like some doomier stuff in there. Like their last album was like a lot more doomy, I guess. Like had like slower, like intense sections, which I really like. Like I would say, shockingly, because this is kind of the flip flop of how it started. Because you were a big Sleep fan, but not a High on Fire fan. I was a big High on Fire fan, but I didn't like Sleep. I probably listened to fucking Sleep's what the hell is it called? Is it Volume? I don't know.
Holy Mountain?
No, it's their first album, like with the fucking...
Oh, Volume 1, yeah.
Yeah, Volume 1, okay, yeah. Like, I feel like I listened to that a lot this year. More than the Cometh the Storm.
Really?
Which is really weird. Not that I didn't
That
like
is
that
weird.
album. It's just like, I've been listening to... I don't know, I've been really enjoying that album recently.
I mean, maybe you were just on more of like a slower, doomier kick.
Yeah, which I guess is probably going to show from my like next album.
Yeah.
If we want to, I guess we can get into that. And is there anything else?
What is your number? No. What's your number 2?
Mine's gonna be "Burden" by Resin.
Okay.
So this band, first time actually catching the album by them, and damn, if it isn't what I wish Paul Bearer would have became after their first album. So this is doom metal, of course.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking love this. It's like they use like heavy doomy riffs to fucking like break up. Basically, this album's like super fucking like ambient and spacey, and then they use their fucking heavy doomy riffs to like break up that part to make it like you're never in space too long, or like you're never chilling for too long, but it like just fucking riffs through it, and his vocals are like, if like you're not gonna have harsh vocals in doom, like it's the kind of doomy vocals I like almost that softer, like I'm trying to think of a band like Paul Bearer works for that, Aldara, stuff like that, like those early like more stoner rocky kind of bands too, like where it's like a softer vocal in there.
I mean, I think Resin definitely implies the stoner rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see why some people wouldn't like it, but it like feels like it's made for me. Like people I would assume find it boring and lackluster for some things, but like it's like I love my doom laid back and for lack of a better term, doomy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to be like gloomy and deep and spacey, and it's what I like. But like I will
you
say,
don't go to
like,
it for a lot of like ripping kind of.
Yeah, like I mean that's most things. Like like High on Fire is different, of course, because High on Fire's like always had that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a complete different thing. I don't think you can classify them as like specifically doom. I think they're more like stonery.
No.
You know what I mean?
I think they're more like stoner, even maybe like no, they are like stoner metal, I guess.
Yeah.
But I also would kind of put High on Fire in like death doom.
Yeah, somewhat. I don't think he is like a clear growl. He more just has like a gruff voice.
Boy, yeah, I hear that.
It's almost like Motorhead, but not as bad.
It is kind of like that, yeah.
But like, I'm not saying Motorhead's bad. I'm just saying like, it's not as like purely.
How could we say that the band who created 1960?
Yeah, 16 years old. Yeah, I used to fucking
When
play
he
that
went
song.
to the war.
Yeah, dude.
The song is sad as hell.
It is, yeah.
But also, No Voice in the Sky is like my favorite Motorhead song.
Yeah, that song's fucking awesome. That album's awesome.
That album is great all the way through.
Yeah, that album was like, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to this fucking album. And I
honorable mention. Honorable mention. Yeah. Roommate, just got it on vinyl not too long ago, and we listened to it on the record player here in the new place. It was pretty sick.
Mm.
He was like, he brought it home. He was like, "Don't you like this album?" I don't know. I saw it. I bought it. I was like, "Okay, yeah."
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. So, number 1.
Do you want to go to over our honorable mentions first?
Oh yes. I'm sorry. We gotta build the hype. Build the hype.
All right. Let you go first, I guess.
So I only have 2 honorable mentions, and these are just albums that might have made it onto my list, but I wanted to vary my list, and I also decided to change some of my like in my head factors of what I decided on. But I did want to shout out the Dark Tranquility album because I did listen to it.
I also listened to it.
and I think it's pretty good. It's
I
like it's kind of boring.
yeah.
Like
So
honestly,
my problem is I think they're pushing like too much into prog, like,
yeah,
and they're not as like I would say they're not as good as some other prog like death bands.
no,
Where like some of the prog they're pushing, like the last album was super good because it was like a really nice mix of the death and prog,
yeah,
and like the very like catchy death metal they've been doing since like my favorite album by them, Damage Done, which is like
yeah.
to
I
me a
almost
perfect
even
album.
think they've like tried to like fold in like some black metal element. It just felt very like boring and aimless to me. I don't know how
Yeah,
else to describe it. Like it's good. There's cool riffs. There's cool guitar parts, but like it didn't like wow me by any means. It was just like, oh, that's cool. Like it's good. If I like if I put that out, I'd be like, wow, this is fucking awesome. It's the best thing I've ever done. But it's
yeah.
not like it just didn't like blow my mind. But I wanted to honorably mention it because I did listen to it and I do think it's pretty good. I'll probably give a few of the songs another listen.
So what's your next
And
one?
my other one is just Time 2 by Winter Sun. And the only reason it's in honorable mentions is because I didn't get to finish the album before we made the video. Because you actually told me about it and I didn't even realize it was out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about that when I was making like finalizing my
It's
list
good
today.
from what
I,
I listened to. I think I
yeah,
listened to
no,
the first like 3 songs.
yeah, it's really good. It might have topped out
Did
some
you
albums
finish
on.
the album? Yeah.
Yeah, I finished the album when it first came out.
What do
I
you
didn't
think of the
listen.
whole thing?
I think it's really good. And like really well done. I don't know why I like didn't even think about it for this. It's kind of one of those albums like I feel like it had less of an impact on me than I thought it would.
Yeah,
Not
albums
that
like
saying
that
it's
you were
bad,
kind of anticipating or you would be anticipating, but it just didn't hit.
but it's like an album where they've like been like gone for so long and they haven't done it for so long and it's been like hyped
Yeah,
up for so long that it's like it's never
I
gonna live
feel
up to
like
what people think. And
yeah,
I
I feel
think
like the
there's so
hype
much.
kind of ruined it as well.
Well, I don't. I think it's like the lack, almost like so. I followed like the
Well, I didn't even know, and I feel like what I'm saying is like the hype almost kind of died
yeah,
like
like it's
immediately
yeah, and I
because it's
think
just
it's
like it's good. That's it. Like it's
yeah.
fine.
I don't think people are like. I think the people that were like, I'm fucking done with this band by now because we've waited so long and we invested like people have invested so much money into it, and he kind of like almost put that to shame. But like he released a great album, it's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. But it's like it kind of sucks that it happens. But yeah, that would honestly be on mine as like an honorable mention. That could have been in my top 10. Really good album. I just
If I finished it, it could have been in my top 10 too, but I just don't feel right because I didn't finish it.
yeah no I kind of agree because I fucking didn't listen to it recently, so I was like, fuck. Because I told you about it. I was like, oh yeah, that
Yeah,
came out
I
this year,
literally found out about it last night.
and I was like, oh fuck, dude, I didn't, and then I forgot about it this morning. So like that's how bad bad I am remembering it.
So, what are some of your honorable mentions though?
So I did Ghost Stories by Blue Oyster Cult. I had a little bit of that because I had some of the older style tracks. There's some tracks I think that didn't work as well in there, so that's why it wasn't on my list. But I do.
I
Really
listened
love,
to it. I also listened to some of it.
yeah, I do love like the songs that sound classic are
So
fucking awesome.
supernatural.
Yeah, but some of the other songs are like, I don't need this.
That album is one of those albums you can look at the like amount of times it's been played in Spotify and decide which songs are the good.
Next one I had was Winter Storm by Ensiferum. Well, the next one I actually had was the Hot on Fire album, but we talked about that already. But then
Right.
yeah, Winter Storm by Ensiferum. I really like this
I
album.
think you told me about this, but I don't know if I ever listened to it all the way through.
So yeah, of course you can see my Ensiferum poster from this one. I prefer this album over this. I feel like it did what they just did again better. Like this album kind of feels like there's less heart put into it. Like I don't even mean like that in a bad way. Like I think it's a good album. It's just like less like there's the epics aren't as epic feeling. There's one song that's like a rip roaring. I think it's Winter Storm Vigilantes.
Okay.
Really awesome song. And then there's like there's an epic in there, but like it just doesn't feel as good as this album. And I think this album like really mixed it up, and it had really just like rip roaring shit in it. God damn, you're gonna shit yourself.
I know. I'm sorry. I was looking at myself in the camera for a second, and I had to like freak out about it. I gotta throw a little Easter egg in there for everybody.
Yeah. But
Can
yeah,
you
no,
animate like an Easter egg like coming out of my hand? No.
I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I probably will forget.
That's
Well,
okay.
no, I'll probably watch this whole video over. So, because I got some stuff that's probably fucked up in here.
You have any more honorable mentions?
Yeah, I have two more. Charcoal Grace, by Caligula's Horse. Jesus, can't speak. I thought it was a really cool, fun prog album. Just didn't make it on there. I thought there were some other good ones. And then The Underworld Awaits Us All by Nile, which was a really fun rip roaring. The only problem is there's one song in there. And I'm just going to bring up the song. This is probably
Is it the Nile song?
Yeah, dude. I was swimming in the Nile, you know what I mean? Or I was standing by the Nile. Great song, though. Probably one of the pioneers of metal, dude. And that song's pretty fucking heavy for, I think that came out in 68 or 69.
Yeah, it just sounds like shit.
Yeah, I prefer the
Voivod version?
Yeah. Sorry, I was like thinking V in my head and I couldn't think of it.
Is that what they're called? Voivod or Voivod or something?
Voivod. Can I get the actual like full title of this? Oh, I can. If I hover over it. Okay. Here's one song. I think it's somehow the most played song on this album. Is a bit too much for me. Okay, are you ready for this title?
Sure.
Chapter for not being hung upside down on a stake in the underworld and made to eat feces by the four apes.
What's that beginning part? Can you do what?
Chapter for not being hung upside down on a stake in the underworld and made to eat feces by the four monkeys. Four apes.
What is the first word? Chapter?
Chapter
4 and then the rest of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's fucking...
That's like something you and I would come up with. That's ridiculous.
They're literally just shouting about fucking... Like, if you're listening to it, like, in the car, and they're just like, feces, four apes. Like, I'm like, fuck, dude.
Okay.
I can't really do that. My voice is already fucked up.
All right.
But yeah,
we're ready.
Yeah, that's all. And then I guess we both share the same number one. We didn't actually talk about anything on the list other than the number one because we both have it. Do we both say it synced up, dude?
Yeah. Okay. Give me a 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
Absolute Elsewhere
by
Blood Incantation.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That was really bad. I'm sorry. Because I didn't know if you were going to say the album or the artist first, so I could pause.
Oh, yeah, I've been saying album then artist. But yeah, what a fucking awesome album. Fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's my, like, base thoughts. Listen to it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I actually think I like it more than the last album. What was that? I forget what it was called.
Are you thinking of Hidden History of the Human Race?
Yes, that's not the last album, is it?
No, it's not the last album.
There was an album in
the last album is Time Way Zero. So that's what I was going to talk about. Because
I don't even remember. I don't know if I listened to that album then.
Probably not. But Hidden History of the Human Race, like, that was my starting point, your starting point for this band. And then, like, I went back and really enjoyed Starspawn in their first EP. And, like, I was, like, really getting into that, like, super, like, spacey death shit they were doing. And then they released Time Way Zero, which I enjoyed. But, like, is it gonna, like, I don't... So it's, okay, it's synth, it's, like, synthwave stuff.
I feel like I did maybe...
All instrumental, no vocals in it at all. Like, unless they do have vocals, and I somehow fell asleep midway through and didn't.
I think I did listen to some of this, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, it's like almost a soundtrack to an album or a soundtrack to a movie, and like, I honestly don't like. I was like, damn, if they keep doing this, I don't think this band's gonna fucking be around for long.
Yeah,
because like it kind of betrayed all the fans, and I was like, if they could merge these styles, it would be perfect. And they fucking did it. Like, this album did that shit perfectly. And, like, the chaotic death metal that they've already did, like, balanced by the fucking progressive interludes with, like... Even, like, you have, like, progressive interludes, like, synthy progressive interludes that just have fucking blast beats in the background, but they're, like, toned down. They're not, like, in-your-face blast beats.
Yeah, no, the mixing on this album is amazing. And the way they blend that, like, crazy chaotic death metal... with the, like, cool, like, more proggy, spacey breakdown parts.
Yeah.
Or even not even just, like, whole parts. Like, the way they blend it is so cool. And a lot of it is production, but also a lot of it is just, like, the composition of the songs themselves. It just works. And it's, like, super impressive to me. Like, I was impressed at, like... I never felt like I was, like, taken out of the album at any point.
Yeah. Yeah, like, the temporal, atmosphere in that fucking album is just fucking insane. And it always feels like it's there, you know what I mean? Like, you never feel like you're out of that, but, like, you have, like, intense moments that are not that at all,
For sure.
but it's fucking awesome.
It's
And
one of
I
those
don't
good
know-
albums that's like really good for zoning out.
Yeah.
Because you could just really like focus on it or not focus on it even, and like it's still like it feels like very in your face, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't know the best word to use for that.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but like the Message Tablet 3 was like my favorite song because that shit like blended everything perfectly to me.
Yeah,
I
I
fucking
actually
love that
wrote.
song.
I actually wrote my rankings for this. Let me find that while you. talk
What,
about
your
it.
ranking of all the songs on there?
Yeah, I think so.
I couldn't tell
no.
you. I couldn't tell you other than that one. I do really like the album overall.
Well,
I think,
I was because there was no like the titles were all like very like similar, like the
Yeah.
messages and whatever. I wrote like notes for all of them, and I think Tablet 2 is what I have in my top one. Yeah.
which one? The Message or Star? It's not Stargate, is it?
Oh yeah, there is two. Okay, I totally forgot the song titles. What I wrote for the second Tablet 2 is Badoop Doo Doo Badoop Grr. And then I wrote Pink Floyd Ass Bridge.
Or what? The other Tablet 2?
For the second, yeah, Tablet 2, whatever it is. I didn't write the actual
Message Tablet
subtitles.
2 is, yeah. And the first one is the Tangerine Dream one, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, overall I really like the album. For Tablet 3 Part 2, I wrote fucking badass, no comment.
What'd you say for Message Tablet 3 or Tablet 3 2?
Very Death Doom, cool, squealy, and heavy. Very pounding and aggressive, but not offensive to the ear. Listenable, almost chill metal.
Yeah. That was my favorite one. I think it just did
Yeah.
everything like it did everything that album did and more. Just on that track, and there's like one part where it gets like super synth, like that's the part where I was talking about. They've like the blast beats and the synth going over the blast beats.
Yeah.
And it still feels just as chill, but then it like uses the beat to like ramp up with the guitar because I think the
Yeah,
guitar
that is so cool.
meets up with
that-
the beat and it's
That like
oh my
meshing
God.
is so cool.
I fucking love that song. This album is fucking awesome. I think it was
Definitely
hard.
listen
Like
to it.
I kind of knew the second I listened to that album, I was like, okay, this is my album of the year.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I've been feeling it because we've been talking about it like beyond the videos. Like I kept saying I was like I think Blood and Condition might be my album of the year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I was like,
I didn't think it was gonna be yours because you made me think it wasn't gonna be. You were like, oh, I don't know.
yeah, okay. So I will say, like, the thing about my list is fucking Don't Go to War with the Demons of Mazadoran was my number 2
Okay.
at the beginning. And like
So you shifted a lot.
I shifted a lot, yeah.
I shifted a lot too, but like I didn't write any like previous lists.
I think that fucking album that I can't say the name of, the Hamford album, I guess is how I'm gonna
The
say
Faroe Islands one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was like could have been my number 1. My only problem is like that genre is like not what I like as much. Like I just think that's like almost done the best I've ever heard it be done before. Like that's way better than like Ahab and stuff like that, which I don't like Ahab a lot.
Yeah.
And like I don't like as much of like Wade Oceans by In Mourning because it's like probably one of my favorite Death Doom albums of all time. But like what it does itself is so fucking good that it could have been my number 1. I just, like I said, not my favorite. And like I don't know, Burden by Resin like came up at the end and like almost has the same thing that Blood Incantation has, where it has like super spacey, awesome stuff, but then goes into doom instead of death metal, which is common, but like I don't know, they like have really good riffs and everything like that, and I really just enjoy them a lot. I would highly suggest if you like doom, checking both those out. I guess if you like death metal, check out Absolute Elsewhere.
Right.
And then if you like fucking weird shit, check out that kind of album.
Okay.
Just throw that in there because it's like the only album between all the ones I just talked about.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Let us know what your top 10 is, top 5, whatever you want to do. Your top 1, if you really want to.
Yeah.
But
give us your top 100. Do it. Write it all out in comments, and
fucking
do every number in individual comment.
yeah. And then like and subscribe, and make a different account for every single one.
Yeah.
And then subscribe too. Do it all. Fuck it, dude.
Happy 2025. Everything is awesome.
Yeah, and maybe soon. I don't know if you'll join me for this.
Okay.
This is kind of like my proposing to you.
Oh my god, he's proposing. Yeah.
Would you want to do, join me for a top 25 albums of this decade so far. We're 5 years in.
So you want to do like so far because you want to do 5 years,
Yeah, we're halfway through the decade.
and then if we're both living in 5 more years, we'll do part 2.
No, we'll just finish the whole thing and see how much our list has changed from the first half to the second half.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Let's do
Yeah.
that. That's gonna be a while from now. I'm gonna need some time to
Yeah.
make that list.
Yeah, it'll probably be.
But I do think that's
Probably-
good. Just
Check
start
for it next month, probably.
top 25.
Check for it next month, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, there's stuff you already know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that's
stuff
true.
you've already
That's
listened.
true.
Like 20. Like this year, it's kind of hard because it's like, you've had
Well,
5
I'd have
years to
to-
listen to some of these albums.
I'd have to start at 2020. All the albums I saved and go through.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching this shit.
Thank you
If
so
enjoyed
much.
it, like I said, like, subscribe, comment your shit down below. That's all for today, though. Peace.